My middle school librarian's name was Mrs. Betty Boucher. She was regal and tall and imposing. She wore her hair in this white bouffant. She wore patent leather shoes, and she had a full-length gray librarian's smock with her name tag pinned to the chest. And she ran that library. It was always silent, it was always hushed. Before we could even think about going in the library, the boys had to straighten their neckties and the girls had to pull up their knee socks, and we all had to retie our shoelaces. And then we could get in a single file line and walk into the library and sit in this very tidy circle to listen to story time. And from my viewpoint in that circle, I could see on the other side of the library this shelf full of these bright blue books. It was a series called The Childhoods of Famous American Girls. And I wanted to read those books so badly. I wanted to take them home and smell their pages and hear their cellophane crinkle, but I wasn't allowed to take books out until second grade. And I wasn't allowed to take books out until I passed the Dewey Decimal Test. And that was the subject of second grade library from September through Halloween. And I've never been so thrilled and terrified of taking a test in my life because the stakes were so high for me. If I finished the test early enough for it to get graded before the end of that library period, and if I passed, I would get to take those books out that day. And if I failed, I had to take the whole course over, and I couldn't take books out till December. So I just remember that day sitting at the half-sized library desk, and Mrs. Boucher was coming around with the paper, and it was purple because came off a mimeograph machine. And she had these perfectly manicured nails, and she slid the test in front of me, and I grabbed it and I wrote as fast as I could, and I finished early, and I took it over to Mrs. Boucher, and she graded it with a red pencil, and I passed. And I walked as quickly as I could, because you can't run in a library. I walked as quickly as I could over to those stacks, and I pulled out Betsy Ross and Florence Nightingale, and I carried them to the librarian's desk, and I wrote my name on those cards, the blue line on those cards, and Mrs. Boucher picked up her big library stamp, and it went chink and thump, and I just felt like I had totally arrived in the world. It's still one of my greatest accomplishments, is passing that Dewey Decimal Test. So many years later, I was seated next to a man at a dinner party. I didn't know him, and we were talking about books, and I was telling him about Mrs. Boucher, and he suddenly leaned forward to me very passionately, and I was kind of startled, but he said, "My library had those same books for boys, and they were orange." And we had this great moment of connection because we knew something about each other. We knew that we had both been lonely, probably, and longing for adventure, and that we had this peculiar interest in the minutiae of history, of what kids did and what they ate and what they wore and how they went to school. And I think that that's something that books can give us. And I think libraries are a place where books are respected and they're thought of as precious and important, and there's a knowledge that precious and important things are meant to be shared. So if Mrs. Boucher was around today, I would thank her for creating this sense of urgency around books and my real desire to want to take them out. And this sense that they can really connect you to the people, to your people, help you find your people.